I'm taking you behind the scenes of me shooting my first ever NBA game. From unseen tunnels all the way to courtside, this is your unfiltered, all-access look. What's up, everybody? Jaron Fritz, aka FrizzyVisuals. I'm the creative director for Colorado State Athletics with multiple years of professional sports sign-up photography experience. And today, we're heading inside Ball Arena for Kings versus Nuggets. But this shoot means more than just my first NBA credential. I'm here to photograph Nick Clifford, a CSU alum, Colorado native, and someone who's been a constant on this channel. From D1 photographer episodes to his drafted graphic to one of my favorite photos ever that's hanging in my office, this story comes full circle tonight on an NBA court. So let's head to Denver. Our first and only stop is Ball Arena through the top secret media entrance, so everyone, close your eyes for just a couple seconds. Before heading to the media room, I had to see what the court was looking like and whether we were going to get any decent lighting. Yeah, that will probably do. After getting my first look around, it was time to drop the gear, so I headed to the media room, which is tucked behind where the players get interviewed for postgame, which is actually a pretty sizable space. After dropping off the gear and grabbing the best water I've ever had, it was straight onto the court to shoot Nick's pregame routine. And we have our first shot of the day. Since Nick basically had the court to himself, plus about 20 trainers, I decided to get close and personal with my 35mm. And right after that shot, I swapped to my PrismLens FX Starburst filter to see how NBA arena lights would look, so enjoy this angle of me changing filters and make sure to use code FRIZZY at checkout for 15% off. Nothing crazy, but was worth a try. One of the shots I was hunting for was pulling in the half-court Nuggets logo while keeping Nick as the main focus. Since he's from Colorado Springs, just an hour south of Denver, it felt like a cool full-circle moment, frame to grab. The logo was there, just not as visible as I wanted, so I moved up in the bleachers to try to pull more of it into the frame. This angle works way better. After shooting from the cheap sheets, I made my way down to the exact spot where Timothée Chalamet sits when the Knicks come into town. Unconfirmed on the Chalamet fact, but I'm probably right. Nick was wrapping up his pregame routine, so all that was left was catching him cheesing and grabbing a clean frame at the free throw line. That was a pretty standard pregame routine. The biggest difference from college was the immediate film session happening right on the court. Every Kings player finished warm-ups, sat on the sideline, and started watching film on a laptop. And after the film session, I had to grab a few photos of Nick with some of his people before he headed to the Kings locker room to jersey up. After finishing up my photos until game time, I sat courtside and watched the rest of warm-ups. Nick was one of the first guys out, so I ended up seeing most of his team get some shots up. Then right as I was heading back to the media room, the Joker himself walked out. Safe to say, plans changed and I stayed to watch for a little bit. Crazy how one of the best basketball players in the world can be that nonchalant about basketball. After grabbing some dinner in the media room and casually walking past Jamal Murray in the hallway, it was time to head back to the court and get ready for Nick and the squad to start team warm-ups. This was going to be my last stretch with full floor access, so I was trying to squeeze out as many different looks as possible. A funny shift from when I photographed Nick at Colorado State to now is that I would almost avoid warm-up shots of him last year because I knew most of my in-game frames would end up being him anyways. So now that we're locking in on Neek the entire time, it's a complete flip, but at least those purple and black warm-ups were looking crispy straight out of camera. I love this shot. This might be my most underrated warm-up shot. Neek working through his heavy size-ups, tons of depth, and a clean separation. I shot wide at 70mm on purpose to pull the background more into frame. In that last frame, wrapped up the short team warm-up window. From there, it was intro video, starting lineups. Neek didn't start this one, so I went into standby mode until he checked into the game. But of course, while I waited, I snagged a couple frames of Russ. Now you may be asking yourself or yelling at your phone why I'm not sitting courtside like I do for every other game I shoot. The NBA is understandably tight with floor access. There's always AP, local media, or team photo and video already on the floor, and honestly, there are way more sideline boxes in college than there are in the NBA. Where I was standing for those Russ photos was technically an approved spot, but I just felt wrong, as if I was blocking people's view, and started feeling bad for everybody behind me. So the plan was simple: spam a few frames the second Neek checked in, then find another spot. And even though I'm not sitting on the wood, this angle still works out great. Here I am again, trying to use the packed out arena behind him while still isolating Neek as a subject. Very man in the arena type vibe. Remember during warmups when I was trying to subtly include the center court Nuggets logo? Well, Neek was running back on defense and I accidentally got the exact shot I was chasing. Name and number dead center. Better to be lucky than good, I guess. I caught this Tim Hardaway Jr. flop in 4K, as well as a half-decent portrait. After blocking the view of a few very expensive seats, I bailed and moved into the middle of Ball Arena to chase some top-down shots of the court. I like this angle of Neek chopping it up with a couple bets. And one of my personal favorite shots of the entire night is this one right here. This was a full circle moment. A player I photographed every game last year in college, now at the free throw line next to the best basketball player alive. Life is a trip. I said one of my favorites for a reason. The real favorite came after the final whistle. The Kings beat the Nuggets and Neek's hometown crew completely took over one of the sections. I stuck around to capture Neek interacting with his people, and my last photo of the night ended up being my favorite. Hometown hero, front and center with over 200 people from home showing some love. When you put this next to one of my final shots of Neek at the Mountain West tournament, same person, completely different stage, same exact aura. And that is a wrap on me shooting my first ever NBA game. If this is the kind of behind the scenes content you've been looking for, make sure to stick around. I have plenty of videos coming your way in the next few weeks, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any free game. Until next time.